It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we have a beer from Brooklyn Brewery, and this is the Brooklyn Pilsner, a crisp lager at 4.6% ABV in a 660 milliliter bottle. There's a look at the bottle. Did I see the word? No, I did see the word who brewed this beer. Okay, right, we're going to just get into this beer. I've just read the back of the label in small print. A word jumped out at me and it was a brewery name. I'm like, the downside of having 20/20 vision, I suppose, is that word just popped at me. Danish brewer, and I'm like, it's not brewed by Brooklyn Brewery, it's brewed by someone else. So that's thrown me a little bit. But I'm going to get into the beer review. It's a lovely brown bottle, 4.6% ABV. Big fan of Brooklyn Lager. Now, Brooklyn Lager was the first beer that I ever had from Brooklyn Brewery. This is their follow-up kind of lager to enter the British market, and this is their Pilsner. Let's get it out. There's the bottle cap. Let's get it out into a glass, see what we get. Nice bit of smoke on the bottle opening. Beer in the glass, and we're going to do a check pour. Should we go for it? So what I'm doing here is I'm knocking out a lot of the carbonation of this beer. Purposely doing that to have a more of a kind of a smoother, well-rounded lager. Now, when I was in the Czech Republic a few weeks ago, this would be called the Englishman's Heart Attack. They would basically pour beers out like this with a great big head on it, and they would serve it. And then by the time the person got from the table to like the other side of the room, put it down, had a chat with the person they were with for 30 seconds to a minute, the head had dissipated, and they were left with a lovely looking Czech lager. And I've gone for it myself. Now, whilst I let that head settle down a bit, I want to talk about this beer a little bit, and specifically the bottle size and where you can buy it and how you can buy it on offer. Now, I did a previous beer review just now, the Aldi Grand Reserva, which I totally loved, and I couldn't remember the name of the beer that I buy in the range. Right, so Tesco and Morrison's you can buy 660 milliliter bottles, and they're 660 milliliter bottles, and they're 3 bottles for £5. Now, I am hard pressed. There's a lot of other beers. You can buy Asahi, you can buy Camden Hells, you can buy San Miguel. I always buy 2 beers. Of that 660 milliliter bottle range, I buy 3 beers, in fact. Paulaner, Kronbacher, or Warsteiner. Kronbacher was the one that I couldn't remember. So Kronbacher Pils is one of my favourite beers in this 660 milliliter bottle range. Same as the Warsteiner, same as the Paulaner. Now, this could be a spanner in the works. This could be a complete spanner in the works. This could be fantastic. If it is fantastic, then I have a dilemma, don't I? Because I buy the 3 bottles of Bomber beers, 660 milliliters, for £5 from either Morrison's or Tesco most weeks. Most weeks it's in my shopping trolley. It's perfect for me. 3 660 milliliter bottles is absolutely perfect for a Saturday night. Now what do I do? If this is fantastic, which one do I leave out? Do I leave out Paulaner? Do I leave out Kronbacher? Or do I leave out Warsteiner? It's got to be cracking first. It's got to be absolutely cracking. 3-finger white head. Good levels of carbonation. Clear looking beer. Straw coloured. Let's get the aroma. Nice and malty and biscuity. 4.6%. I'm going to reserve judgment for the taste, but it smells spicy and peppery. It does smell like a Pilsner. There's a little bit of biscuit malt coming through. But it's got really large brewery written all over it. I've read the brewery. I'll give you the brewery's name after I've given a brief description of the beer as I've tasted it. Oh, it's a blooming good effort. It's a blooming good effort. Almost chewing, almost kind of breathing in and out and making sure I get all of the flavours. Just to be fair on the beer. Oh, it's really lovely and refreshing. Really lovely and refreshing. It's spicy and peppery and slightly biscuity there. There's a bit of a mustiness that comes through. I've just drank this Grand Reserva from Aldi, the Rossini, and it was mind-blowing. 100% Italian malt lager. Fantastic. £2 a bottle. Same price as this, £2 a bottle, but you can buy 3 bottles for a £5, which knocks it down to about £1.63 in my calculations. If my calculations are correct, you know, Back to the Future and all that. It's after you realise how refreshing it is. You realise instantly how refreshing the beer is. It's nicely carbonated, but there's a little bit of mustiness as soon as you kind of get past that kind of refreshing part of the beer. It's a little bit musty. It's a little bit vague. I don't think it's a 100% malt lager. Now, Kronbacher, 100% malt lager. Warsteiner, 100% malt lager. So is the Paulaner, Munich Helles. And they're asking you to drop one of those beers, because that's what I buy. Unless, of course, you're an Asahi, a Heineken, or a Camden Helles lager drinker. Then I suppose, because there's a big range of these 660ml bottles, and you need to know which one to buy. You need to be clever enough to know which one to buy. Now, I'm going to give it up on who brews this. Now, for some reason, that name shot at me. And I kind of went, what? And then I read carbohydrate, then I read carbohydrate again. And then I read above that, Carlsberg Breweries. Jacob's Gade. It's been brewed in Denmark by Carlsberg Breweries. Now, I would love to know. Right, ingredients: water, malted barley, hops. So it is 100% malt lager. That it's not saying it's corn or rice or whatever, but it is 100% malt lager. It's just a little bit musty, a little bit of, quite frankly, it tastes a little bit like Carlsberg. Not UK brewed Carlsberg, not that rubbish. Danish Carlsberg. I've had Danish Carlsberg, and it's a pretty decent pint. This is a pretty decent pint too. But I don't think I'm going to replace it. I don't think I'm going to be replacing my weekly Warsteiner, Kronbacher, Paulaner lagers, any one of those for this. It's just not quite there. It's very nice. It's very nice. It really is. It's a very nice beer, but it's not quite to the level of Paulaner or to the level of Warsteiner or to the level of Krombacher. It's just not quite hitting those heights. In terms of bitterness, this is a Pilsner. In terms of bitterness, it's bitter enough. It's bitter enough. Oh, it's a tough one, because the more I'm drinking it, the more I'm enjoying it. The more I'm drinking it, the more I'm enjoying it. And I'm just trying to be as fair as I possibly can. But then again, there is a little bit of metallicness. There is a little bit of big beer about it. I'm quite surprised, actually. I'm quite surprised Brooklyn Brewery have gone down this route of choosing Carlsberg to brew. It's dangerous, isn't it? It's dangerous. Brooklyn, for me, when I was drinking Brooklyn lager, the American stuff that was being sent over from fantastic American followers of the channel 8-9 years ago, it was fabulous. Brooklyn lager back then was terrific. Now I understand Brooklyn lager is not, or the UK brewed Brooklyn lager is not the same as the American stuff. And I got a funny feeling that if the people from Brooklyn Brewery, and I'm not going to name anybody, there's kind of like big kind of entertainers within Brooklyn Brewery now, they're big kind of like celebrity type people. If they come over to the UK and if they tried this Carlsberg version of this, I'm not sure, you know. I'm not sure if they would be 100% happy with the beer. It's a bit tinny, it's a bit metallic, it's a bit musty after the refreshingness of it. It's still a decent beer. It's still a decent beer, but I don't think it's hitting the heights of, I'm going to say it again, Warsteiner, Krombacher, Paulaner. And this is where it sits. The reason why I'm so passionate about this is because this is where it sits. It sits on the shelf, asking you to pick it up with another 2 bottles. So you can get 3 bottles for £5. It won't be, I will carry on with my purchases every week of Warsteiner, Paulaner and Krombacher. I will be leaving this on the shelf. It's not quite there, but it's still decent. If for argument's sake there was no Warsteiner, Krombacher and Paulaner, and I had to choose between this and Camden Hells Lager and Asahi and Heineken, then I would probably choose this. It's kind of like better than those beers. But the reason why I'm banging on about these beers is because that's where they've positioned it. They've positioned this in that very market. That 3 bomber bottles for £5. That's where it lies. That's where it sits. After saying all that, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. It's still a decent Pilsner, but it's just not quite there. Thanks for watching. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.